In 1979, IBM wrote in a training manual, "A computer must never be held accountable. Therefore, a computer must never make a management decision." Now, almost 50 years later, countless facets of our society are based on computers making management decisions through AI models. While we grapple with this change in hegemony, we must remember that computers and their algorithms are just as much a reflection of their creators as their users and training data. In previous videos, we explored how LLM models like Gemini and ChatGPT are defined, work, and the training data behind these models. This video will explore the potential vectors in the data that allows bias, stereotypes, and misinformation to get embedded within the system, before and after it is ingested for training. Every person has biases, both overtly known by themselves or others, as well as embedded biases that they or others may not be aware of. When working with LLMs, it is important to remember that these computational models are based on data embedded with their own biases and stereotypes. We can visualize this like an iceberg, with more noticeable biases at the top and less noticeable biases at the bottom, hidden under the water. Just at face value, data will inherently have biases due to how it was selected and sampled. Counting the foot traffic at Ala Moana only on Mondays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. would give you a very different picture of the average amount of people visiting the mall compared to foot traffic all day on the weekends. How data is processed and validated can also contain its own biases, as different methods can produce various results depending on what is the focus. How data is used and interpreted also has its own biases, as there usually is a specific purpose for the data collection to occur that will inform how they use and interpret it after collection. Stepping one layer down from the statistical and computational biases that can be embedded in data, there is also just the human component. Humans in groups, as well as individuals, will have their own biases that will guide them in their data collection and analysis. Someone working in Silicon Valley is likely to have a very different view of the world compared to a fisherman from Hawaii, in the same sense as a corporation may have different preferences from a grassroots community movement. Beneath this human layer, there are also systemic biases. Institutions will have their own preferences and prejudices, which may be tied to historical biases as well as societal. For example, it wasn't until 1960 that people were able to self-report their own race for census records. Before 1960, a person's race listed in the census was based on the census worker's opinion. This inability to self-report allowed for census workers' biases and prejudices to become embedded in every step of the data collection and analysis process, until it became part of the institutional, historical, and social biases embedded into our system and understanding of race in America. Knowing how LLMs inherently are built to provide information that only sounds plausible, combined with an awareness of the potential biases included in the training data, can make us question how true any answers generated are. Made-up or false information generated by LLMs like Gemini and ChatGPT are commonly called either misinformation, fabrications, hallucinations, or slop. I would like to note that in 2025, the Columbia University's Tao Center for Digital Journalism did a study on how accurate LLM models were. While there have been some model updates since this study, I personally do not believe the accuracy rates have significantly changed since this study was conducted. Regardless, the study highlights the different levels of accuracy AI-generated answers can have in their responses. It goes from a scale of confidently correct to confidently incorrect, and then no answers provided. And LLMs, regardless of model, are usually more likely to be confidently incorrect. Up to 60% of the study's queries were incorrect. While this inaccuracy is generally an issue, being confidently incorrect is especially bad, as it means that there is a chance you will get a response from an LLM that seems confidently correct when it is just stating falsehoods or misinformation. The study then delves deeper into the different types of sources an output can provide, which range from some form of fabricated information or misinformation, such as wrong article, a missing link, a 404 page, or a publisher's homepage instead of a specific website page, to a potential copyright infringement, such as an original article, a syndicated article, or an unofficial copy. As even when the chatbots appear to correctly identify the article, they often fail to properly link to the original source. So if you do use these AI models, you cannot be confident in the accuracy or truthfulness of their responses just because they provide a source. You need to engage in lateral reading, where you go to the sources provided and actually find the passages that state the information given to you by the AI bot. It has been studied and noted that these models will summarize things in ways that incorrectly interpret the material, by making grander claims than what is stated, or making connections that were not mentioned in the actual article. This is why UH policy requires you to verify every AI-generated output before use. If you still have any questions, WCC Library is here to help. Feel free to reach out to us by email, phone call, text, or chatting online. A librarian will be available to chat with you Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.